what comprises or defines a liberal arts education?
It's hard to answer that question succinctly. What you can say is that it doesn't have anything to do with your political philosophy. You know, you can vote for Republicans and be very happy at a liberal arts college. You can vote for Democrats and be very happy at a liberal arts college. You can vote for third-party candidates. You can decide not to vote at all. You hate politics, it's stupid, right? It doesn't have anything to do with that. That word liberal, I think, is kind of misleading. So that's probably the first thing that we need to say.
Right.
The arts part of it, that can be misleading in another sort of way. Lots of people who do very well at schools like Lawrence don't think of themselves as particularly artsy. Now, if you were to ask those people, are you creative? What have you done or contributed or added, you know, to your high school, to your community, to you know, to the campus here in Appleton? They might have to give you a different sort of answer at that point. So I think that the term can be a little misleading and a little confusing. I think the best way to begin talking about it is to say that it's an education that values both breadth and depth. So just as you can't graduate from Lawrence without doing freshman studies and the language requirement and the other general education requirements, you can't graduate from Lawrence without doing a major. You can take all sorts of courses, you can do very well in those courses, but unless you've completed the requirements for a major, sorry, we can't give you the degree. And that interesting combination of breadth and depth is one of the, I think, most important features, one of the defining features of our approach to education here. There are other ways of doing it, right? There are some schools that will allow you to take almost all of your work, to do almost all of your work in your major. We don't think that's a good idea. There are other schools that hardly require a major at all. We don't think that's a good idea either. Moving on from there, I think you can say that your major is not the only thing you're doing, and that's often a really good thing. I was just talking to a person the other day who took a geology class to satisfy one of the GERs. If you had asked her before, I'm sure she would have told you that she was science phobic. I'm sure that she would have told you she was just doing it to check off a box on her transcript. Well, she fell in love with the subject, and she fell in love with the whole approach to learning in the geology department. She had a wonderful experience in that class. It's no surprise, because that's, you know, a department full of really great, brilliant teachers. And now she wants to add a geology major. That's the kind of thing that can happen here. And I think it's a mistake to begin school kind of certain or stubbornly convinced that something like that could never happen to you. You don't know what's going to happen when you walk in that classroom and Marcia Bjornerud stands up in front of the group and starts to talk about her stuff. Or, you know, when John Dreyer does the same thing, starts to engage people in conversation, or when any number of other great teachers on the campus do that. It awakens something in you that you maybe didn't know was there. That's why liberal education and liberal arts education is an education that really prizes, really values, really encourages growth and discovery and self-discovery. I'm finding out something in myself. Didn't think I was good at languages, but boy, you know, Professor Chang, she has really got, I don't know, some sort of special gift for bringing it out in me, and now I want to make sure that I have a chance to really become fluent in French. So I'm going to go and study in Senegal, or I'm going to go study in Paris.
What makes this style of learning relevant today? What makes liberal arts education relevant today?
Well, two things. First, the world is changing, and we can't know what it's going to be like when you graduate, when you come back for your 5-year reunion, when you come back for your 20-year reunion. You could take a very sort of tightly focused program and be absolutely ready for a dead-end job when you graduate. You know what I mean? Like, you'll get that job and you better like it, because you might be in it for a very long time. You won't have learned anything else that will allow you to move up or move out or do anything else, right? That's a real danger. People talk about the dangers of coming to school and majoring in something and not being able to get a job. It's almost equally dangerous to come to school, fall into a rut, fall into a groove, and never, ever, ever really know how to get out of it again. So that's something that you have to think about. The other thing I would say is that I think that now more than ever, our society needs people who can make connections, who are comfortable with difference, right? You know, didn't grow up in my neighborhood. We may not have any of the same political beliefs, but we have to work together. We have to live together. And that really brings us around to what I think is almost the magic ingredient here, and that is the res life piece, the residential life piece. You could take all the same classes, all the same professors, do all the same things online, but it would not be the same education, because you wouldn't be living and sort of negotiating your life with your classmates at the same time. It's very, very important that academics and social life go together in this kind of deep, profound way. And I think that people here, Dean Truesdell is the best example, but there are so many others, really understand that that's the magic, that's the connection, the fact that we all work together, study together, learn together, and live together. That's what really makes it special. So, you know, I don't think there's anything especially complicated about that. I always thought that it was pretty cool to go to class and see someone, you know, I knew well. I knew where her comments were coming from. I knew what sort of challenges she might be facing academically, intellectually, personally. It just made for a much richer experience.